I bought a new phone, but my girlfriend said I didn't love her and compared me to other boyfriends. My dad transferred 10,000 yuan to me so I could buy a new phone. After my girlfriend found out, she lost it. She asked, "You spent 10,000 just on a phone. Did you buy it just to play games again? Can't you use that time to spend more with me instead?" My friend's boyfriend uses a crappy phone himself but always gets her the best. And look at you. I haven't even changed my phone yet. What gives you the right to get a new one? I looked at her, puzzled, and asked, "Your friend's boyfriend is her boyfriend. What does that have to do with me? And I'm using my family's money. What does it have to do with you? Why shouldn't I get a new phone?" She was left speechless by that, but I didn't expect what came next. When I got back to my dorm later that day, I realized my phone was gone. I called the police right away, and I could literally see my girlfriend start to panic. Chapter 1. My dad had sent me 10,000 yuan so I could buy a phone. I ended up getting an iPhone 16 Pro Max. Willow came with me to pick up the package. The moment we got to the pickup station, she instantly pulled the phone out from the pile of parcels. Looking at the label, she pouted and said, "Why'd you choose black? I don't like that color." I didn't think much of it and casually replied, "I like it. I'm the one using it anyway." That set Willow off, ignoring the fact that the pickup station was crowded. She raised her voice and snapped, "Why the hell would you buy such an expensive phone? Why can't you learn from my friend's boyfriend? He hasn't upgraded his phone in years. And look at you. I haven't even gotten a new phone. And you think you deserve one?" She bit down hard on the word "I." But before I could process what she meant, she launched into another rant like a machine gun. "Do you even realize how hard it is to make money these days? My parents only make 4,000 yuan a month. And you think you can just get a new phone whenever you feel like it?" I looked at her, genuinely confused, and said, "Just because your parents make 4,000 a month doesn't mean mine do. And just because your friend's boyfriend never changes his phone doesn't mean I have to follow suit. I'm spending my family's money. What does that have to do with you?" People were coming and going, but all of a sudden, everyone's attention was on us. Willow's face turned beet red. She opened her mouth to say something, realized all the eyes on her, and instead, slammed the phone box to the ground and stormed off. We did not part on good terms that day. Chapter 2. That night, Willow kept sending me messages, but I ignored them. I sat at my desk, staring blankly at a documentary, my thoughts tangled and impossible to sort out. Willow is a junior at our university, pure, pretty, sweet, and popular. We've been together for 3 months, still very much in the honeymoon phase. Aside from our recent argument over the phone, I haven't noticed any other issues. Makoto, who sleeps in the bunk next to mine, kept looking at me. Whenever I looked back, he quickly put his phone away. His gaze felt resentful, like I had somehow wronged him. Annoyed by his passive-aggressive behavior, I finally asked, "Do you need something?" Makoto shook his head but paced back and forth by the window. Suddenly, he pointed outside and said, "George, Willow is downstairs waiting for you." I walked to the window and looked down. It was drizzling outside, and Willow stood in the rain wearing a short skirt. Her hair was already damp, the ends clinging slightly to her cheeks. When she saw me, she lifted a small cake in her hand and smiled, such a sweet smile that it made my heart ache. I hurried downstairs to cover Willow with my umbrella. She held my arm and apologized softly. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have lost my temper with you." Before I could respond, she gently continued, "George, I'm not blaming you for buying a phone. It's perfectly normal to get one for yourself, but there's no need to spend that much money. If you don't believe me, ask your roommates how much they spent on their phones. If you make such an expensive purchase, people will just assume you're showing off." I felt torn because my roommates really do use cheaper phones. Willow went on in a sweet, soothing tone, "George, I really love you. You're the one I want to spend my life with. It's because I see a future with you that I'm giving you this advice. Your parents work hard to earn money. We should be considerate of them and avoid wasting it." Thinking about my parents, who leave early in the morning and come home late at night, I started to feel somewhat persuaded, but I also wanted to test her. So I asked, "What if I return this phone and get you a different color instead?" Willow lit up immediately, as if I'd finally come around. She couldn't wait to continue. "That's great, babe. You finally see reason. Think about it. If word got out that you use a fancy phone while your girlfriend is still stuck with an old one, people would say you're stingy and not manly at all." In that moment, I became crystal clear about what was happening. Spending 10,000 yuan on myself is wasteful and not considerate. Yet if it's for her, it suddenly becomes generous and caring. Isn't that a double standard? Willow looked like she wanted to keep talking about the phone, but she probably noticed my expression and decided to hold back for the moment. We went back to the dorm, and our roommate David wasn't back yet. I had just taken off my jacket when Makoto suddenly sat up in bed and blurted out, "A girl asked me out to dinner." He looked smug, like he was bragging to me. I had no words, so I replied, "Cool, congrats." in the most perfunctory tone possible. Chapter 3. I headed to the bathroom to splash some water on my face. I noticed that David's towel was practically falling apart, yet he still hadn't thrown it away. And the shampoo bottle had been watered down countless times. I started doubting myself. After some thought, I decided to call my dad. I gave him a quick summary of what was going on. My dad's tone grew stern as he asked, "Son, first tell me how you see it." I admitted I was a bit lost. She said I'm wasting our family's money, which really bothers me. But my roommates are quite frugal, so maybe spending 10,000 yuan on a phone does look bad. My dad spoke carefully. "Son, first of all, every family's financial situation is different, and you can't make everyone live on the same exact budget. If anyone who spends more is automatically considered a show-off, then everyone except the most frugal person on earth would be labeled a show-off. Second, I can easily provide for you. A 10,000 yuan phone is a normal expense for our family. It's not a waste. Even without considering what your mom makes, the 2 restaurants I run bring in more than enough. Not buying that phone wouldn't really save much or change anything for us." He was telling the truth. For my dad, a 10,000 yuan phone really is just a standard purchase. He continued, "Our family doesn't need you to pinch pennies for the future. Your mom and I work so hard specifically so that you can enjoy life without struggling." I thought about the investments and dividends in my own account. 10,000 yuan is also a reasonable amount for me to spend. Finally, my dad said, almost casually, "Your mom and I work so hard so you can be a second-generation rich kid. We don't want you to suffer." His words touched me. After I ended the call with him, I phoned a friend next. As soon as my friend heard the story, he started laughing. "Dude, what's wrong with you? Are you out of your mind or just blind? You're actually dating a gold digger. She's whining about it being wasteful." Wasteful for who? Why doesn't she go tell Elon Musk to stop flying first class and take economy instead? Let's be real. It's only because you're her boyfriend that she expects you to spend money on her. She sees your money as hers, so she thinks if you're not spending it on her, you're wasting it. You two are just dating, and she already feels shortchanged if you don't spoil her. Imagine if you got married, she'd probably want you to transfer the house and car into her name. The money your parents gave you is none of her business, I replied. She's comparing me to her friend's boyfriend, who apparently gives his girlfriend everything, and that makes her feel resentful. My friend said bluntly, "Oh, so she's actually got her eyes on her friend's boyfriend. Why not just tell her to go snatch him, then? Or you can say, her boyfriend's girlfriend is the one buying him a house and a car, so why don't you buy those for me?" He made a lot of sense, and I decided that's exactly how I should handle Willow from now on. After I hung up, I felt like I'd already made up my mind. But breaking up with Willow wouldn't be easy. She's very popular, and plenty of guys would jump at the chance to date her. If I don't have a good reason, I'll probably face endless gossip. We still have 2 years of college left, and I don't want to live under that kind of scrutiny. Chapter 4. Willow had no idea I planned to break up with her. She carried on as usual, going out on a date with me. We took a walk along the Lovers' Bridge by the lake. She looked happy and said, "George, how about we fly a kite this weekend and check out some local attractions?" But my phone isn't working that well right now. The photos it takes don't look great. She trailed off suggestively and then looked at me expectantly, blaming the phone for bad pictures. I was speechless. I knew she wanted me to pick up on her hint, so I deliberately changed the subject. "I'm heading home this weekend. Maybe next time." Willow paused, a bit unhappy, but I pretended not to notice. She forced down her frustration and looped her arm around mine in a show of affection. My entire body got goosebumps instantly. She said, "Babe, your family probably gives you quite a bit for living expenses each month, right? Since I'm going to marry you anyway, how about from now on, you hand that money over to me so we can start saving for our wedding. Once we have enough, we can get married." She added, "After that, I'll give you a monthly allowance." I felt an immediate wave of disgust. It's my money in the first place, why should I give it to her? My parents give me money, and then I'd be forced to ask her for an allowance. Why would I ever choose to live under someone else's control like that? I shook off her arm and firmly refused. "I can save on my own. I don't need your help." Willow snapped. "So you can save money, yet you bought such an expensive phone. Have you ever thought about our future at all?" I shot back. "That money is mine to save or spend however I want." End of story. Willow pressed her lips together and said, "Clearly you don't trust me at all, and you don't love me one bit." I had no desire to argue further and turned to leave. After just a couple of steps, I heard a shout behind me. I spun around warily and saw Willow leaning halfway over the bridge railing. One more lurch, and she'd be in the lake, which she couldn't swim in. In 3 big strides, I rushed back to grab her arm. The look of panic on my face must have pleased her, because I saw the satisfaction in her eyes. She was testing how much I cared for her. I urgently said, "Get back over here." If she really fell, I'd be the one held responsible. Willow pretended multiple times that she was about to jump, just to scare me. I pulled her back with all my strength. Only when some bystanders started approaching did she finally seem embarrassed enough to step away from the railing. She looked happy with my reaction and said with a smile, "Now you know how painful it would be to lose me. If you truly love someone, cherish them before it's too late." A second later, I wound up my arm and slapped her hard across the face. The crack was loud and sharp. Willow clutched her cheek in disbelief. Before she could react, I took off running. Back at the dorm, my scalp was tingling. Being a gold digger was one thing, but this girl was starting to feel mentally unstable as well. Noticing my grim expression, our roommate David asked what was wrong. I told him a bit about it, leaving out the part about Willow threatening to jump into the lake. David grimaced and said, "That's pretty messed up. He rarely says bad things about anyone, let alone a friend's girlfriend, so if he calls it messed up, it must be something really off the wall." Makoto had been silent up to this point, but suddenly he spoke. "If a man truly loves a woman, he'll willingly hand over all his money to her." He gave me a pointed look. "If a man isn't willing to spend his money on a woman, then he's hardly a man at all." That was when I put two and two together. No wonder Willow always seemed so well informed about me. Turns out there was a simp and a mole right here in our dorm. Too tired to argue with an idiot, I simply said, "You're absolutely right." It was like he'd just punched a pillow. Seeing both David and me ignore him, Makoto stormed out in anger. Chapter 5. Willow stopped contacting me, and I didn't reach out to her either. I was stressing about finding a solid reason to break up, but on Monday, when I returned to the dorm, the new phone I'd left on my bedside table, which I hadn't yet backed up, was gone. I called Willow immediately. "Willow, did you take my phone?" She gave a cold snort and said, "Yeah, I took it." "Talking sense into you doesn't work. Tell me, where do you find a boyfriend like you, so stingy and cheap, not caring at all about your girlfriend's feelings? Your dorm mate Makoto is so much better than you." I let out a short laugh. "Where is it?" She said, "Forget it. I don't like that color, so I sold it." I was disgusted and at a loss for words. "You do realize taking something without asking is considered theft, right? I'm giving you 2 hours, either give the phone back or I'm calling the police." Willow shot back, "How dare you accuse me of stealing your stuff? Why are you saying such harsh things? If you had just agreed to buy me a phone, I wouldn't have taken yours. You owe me an apology, or I'll never speak to you again." "Right, so she steals my phone, and somehow it's my fault." I refused to waste more breath on her. I hung up and called the police. "Hello, I'd like to report a theft. My phone, worth over 10,000 yuan, was stolen." It wasn't until she saw the police that Willow realized I wasn't joking. She glared at me in disbelief. "Really? You'd call the cops on me over a phone?" I answered firmly, "Yes, I would." The police officer tried to mediate. "If you took your boyfriend's belongings, just return them. There's no need for a couple to escalate like this." Willow didn't even blink before denying everything. "I didn't take his phone. Stop trying to pin this on me." I almost laughed from anger and played back our phone call recording. Willow still tried to argue with the police. "I told you, I didn't take anything. A girl can't even go into the boys' dorm, so how could I have taken it?" Then her own voice played, loud and clear. "Yeah, I took it. Talking sense into you doesn't work. Tell me, where do you find a boyfriend like you, so stingy and cheap, not caring at all about your girlfriend's feelings? Your dorm mate Makoto is so much better." The officer gave Willow a strange look. Willow's face turned bright red. She lunged at me, trying to scratch me, and yelled, "You're so underhanded, recording our conversation." Before I could react, the two officers held Willow back, pulling her aside to scold her. Willow still refused to admit any wrongdoing. "I'm his girlfriend, so what's the problem with taking his stuff? If he had just bought me a phone, I wouldn't have taken his." She spoke with an air of complete righteousness. "Which boyfriend behaves so selfishly?" One of the officers raised his voice. "Being his girlfriend doesn't give you the right to take his property. If it's worth over 2,000 yuan, he can press charges. Besides, it's his money, so he can spend it however he wants. That's not your call to make." Willow glared at me, but she had no comeback. The officer sighed heavily and asked me how I wanted to proceed. I stated my condition plainly: within an hour, either return the phone or give me back the money. They urged Willow to hand over the phone, but after a pause, she said, "I already sold it." The officer replied, "Then you'll have to repay him." Willow stammered but couldn't form a reply. Another round of questioning, and she finally admitted, "I spent the money." She had used the proceeds from my phone to buy herself a new one. I gave a contemptuous snort. Willow glared at me. "Are you really going to keep after me for that little bit of money? Imagine that, she's the one who stole, yet now it's my fault again." I showed her the phone recording. "Pay up, or maybe your friends would like to listen to this too." Willow gave me a dark look, said nothing, and started making phone calls to borrow money. She's popular and has plenty of simps, so it didn't take her long to raise the funds. As soon as the 10,000 yuan arrived in my account, I placed a new phone order right there in front of Willow. Her face turned red, and she said meaningfully, "You'll regret this." I barely twitched my lips into a half smile and turned to the police officer. "Officer, you see, now she's trying to threaten me." Willow got a stern reprimand. Watching the scene unfold, I locked eyes with Willow and mouthed silently, "Bring it on." Chapter 6. David and I returned to the dorm nearly at the same time. He was carrying several delivery boxes and said, "These looked expensive, so I thought I'd better bring them in right away." Opening them, I saw that my dad had sent me a gaming laptop and some accessories. One item was a pair of Sennheiser headphones worth about 5,000 yuan. Makoto craned his neck, trying to peek. I snapped the box shut and glanced at him, and he withdrew to his bed without a word. I was about to call my dad to say thanks when Willow's number popped up on my phone. I glanced in Makoto's direction, then accepted the call. Willow began shrieking, "Your family's doing this on purpose, aren't they? So what if you have money? Does that make you special? You've got these stupid headphones that cost 5,000 yuan, yet you fuss over the little bit of money I took." George, really? What kind of boyfriend acts like you do? Don't think you're so high and mighty. In my eyes, you're just a pathetic, selfish cheapskate. I must have been blind to ever date you. My lips curved slightly in a smirk. The fact that Willow was cursing me out so viciously meant she was furious that she couldn't take advantage of me. She'd completely lost her composure. I laughed. "You know, even if I had money to throw at a beggar, I still wouldn't spend a cent on you, because you're simply not worth it." Ex-girlfriend. That made her even angrier. She was screaming and swearing on the other end. I hushed her and said, "We still haven't settled the last incident. Aren't you worried I might record this conversation too?" Willow instantly went silent. All I could hear was her angry breathing on the line. I said coolly, "Willow, I spared you a trip to jail last time. From now on, let's just go our separate ways. If you don't want things to get ugly, stop making trouble for me." She snapped, "Go to hell, you disgusting excuse for a man." Then she hung up. The dorm fell quiet for a moment. David sensed something was off and looked over at me. I tossed my phone onto the desk with a thud. Makoto suddenly jumped off his bed, slipped on his shoes, and made a dash for the door. I sidestepped in front of him, grabbed him by the collar, and slammed a fist into his face. Makoto howled in pain, flailing his arms at mine. He shouted, "Let go of me. What gives you the right to hit me?" David yelled for us not to fight and stepped between us, subtly blocking Makoto's wild swings. I pushed David aside, still gripping Makoto's collar, and shoved him against the bed frame. I said, "Why am I hitting you? Don't tell me you don't know. Otherwise, why are you running?" Makoto shouted, "Let go of me, David. You're just gonna watch him beat me up." Standing off to the side, David tried to calm things down. "George usually has his reasons. Why don't you two just talk it out?" Makoto kept struggling, so I gave him another punch. "You move pretty fast." "Huh, I just got my stuff, and you've already tipped off Willow." "What, are you into her? You can take whatever trash I throw away, but lay a finger on my stuff again and see what happens." Makoto shot back, "I didn't touch your stuff." I sneered, "If you didn't, how'd Willow get her hands on my phone?" He denied everything. "I don't know, but it wasn't me." I let out a cold laugh. "Still lying? Want me to check the surveillance cameras?" A flicker of guilt passed through his eyes, but he kept his mouth shut. I patted his face. "Don't want to own up? Fine. Anyone who messes with my stuff won't come to a good end." Makoto fumed, unable to retort. I stared him down. "From now on, behave yourself. If you stir up any more trouble, I won't let you off so easy next time." I let go, and Makoto took huge gulps of air. He glowered at me, then bolted out the door. Chapter 7. I called my dad to let him know I'd broken up with Willow. He let out a long sigh, then patiently explained, "I'm gonna be honest, son. I'm not against girls who care about money, but spending money on a woman should be because you want to, not because you're supposed to. You understand? Take Willow, for example. Let's not even get into her character. Her biggest flaw is how foolish she is. You two have only been dating for how long, and she already assumes it's natural for you to give her all your money. For what reason? I work my hardest to give you good living conditions so you can be comfortable. I'm not doing it so you can worship some goddess, nor am I trying to do charity relief through you. Of course, I support real charity, but I'm not about to let a woman use dating as an excuse to turn our family into her personal piggy bank. I'd rather donate to the Red Cross than give her a single penny." I listened quietly to my dad's heartfelt words, and he continued, "It's normal for people to be materialistic to some extent, but if a girl isn't stupid, she'd understand that when you want others to provide value, you should provide value in return, rather than standing on a pedestal making endless demands." If she understood that much, I wouldn't really have a problem with her. But clearly, that girlfriend of yours doesn't get it. I had to remind him. "Dad, she's my ex-girlfriend." He chuckled. "Remember this, never abandon your own principles just to please someone else. A simp who keeps groveling ends up with nothing. It's fine to spend money, but it has to be worth it." I was deeply moved by my dad's advice. Truly, My parents have my back more than anyone. Makoto ran out of the dorm that evening and never came back all night. David grew worried and tried calling him before lights out, only to have Makoto hang up on him. I calmly reassured him, "Don't worry, he's got somewhere to go." David gave me a puzzled look, so I showed him my phone. A classmate had sent me a photo, Willow and Makoto, arm in arm, entering a hotel. They were probably having a grand time trash-talking me right about now. David's face darkened. He frowned. "You just broke up with Willow, and now Makoto's with her. A normal person wouldn't do something like that, roommate hooking up with another roommate's ex right after the breakup." It bothered David even more than it did me. Given his straightforward nature, Makoto came back the next afternoon, but neither of us acknowledged him. Shortly after, my phone blew up with constant notifications. David called over. "George, check the big chat group." At 4 in the afternoon, Willow had posted a lengthy rant in the group chat. She didn't name names, but everyone knew she was talking about me. She wrote, "I want to advise everyone, never date a selfish man. These men only care about themselves and never consider anyone else's feelings. They only know how to take and never give. During our 3 months together, I sacrificed so much for him. I stayed up late with him, took care of him when he was sick, brought him porridge and medicine. He once said he liked long hair, so I grew mine out for him. I gave him my time and emotions. Yes, his family has money, so he can buy himself a 10,000 yuan phone. But during our dates, I was the one who had to pay for milk tea. These 3 months were really hard for me, and I finally saw him for what he is. Maybe I'm just not good enough for him. So we broke up." I was speechless. Forget everything else. When we went to the movies, ate out, and even went to the amusement park, I footed the bill. Yet she's now complaining about that 1 cup of milk tea she paid for. A bunch of people in the group comforted her and blamed me. Plenty of simps chimed in, saying things like, "A man like that is way too selfish. You meet all kinds in a big world, I guess. Don't be sad. Willow, congrats on finally breaking free. Willow is a really sweet girl. I'm sure you'll find someone who appreciates you." Willow kept venting in the group. "Society is just so unfair to women. The job market discriminates against us, so men end up making more money. Yet if a woman asks a man for any financial support, she's labeled materialistic. Women have it so hard. We're the ones who bear children and take care of the house. Men don't have to worry about any of that. They just go out and earn a little money and act like they're kings at home. If a woman buys something nice for herself, the man says she's wasteful and doesn't know how to run a household. And then there's the whole issue of an expensive bride price, though if you think about it, that amount of money wouldn't even cover hiring a nanny. That's society. That's reality." Her posts got a lot of support from most of the girls and some of the simps. Along with that support came an onslaught of criticism aimed at me. Everyone decided I was too stingy and selfish, buying a phone for myself but not getting one for my girlfriend. I narrowed my eyes. Willow was more foolish than I'd thought. I'd already warned her we should just part ways amicably and not push me to turn ugly. David stayed calm and said, "George, maybe it's best not to respond. The campus is full of what some call feminazis, and Willow's popular. No one's going to speak up for you. Just wait a few days and let the drama die down." Makoto had been glued to his phone, snickering. He immediately backed David up. "Yeah, you'd better keep quiet." I caught a glimpse of smug satisfaction in his eyes. They didn't know that after I called the police that day, I'd recorded pretty much everything afterward, capturing Willow's true colors on video. Reading all the insults in the group, I just chuckled. I decided to let things simmer for a bit. Sometimes, you have to save your trump card for the moment it matters most. Those who harm others eventually face their own downfall. Chapter 8. The rumors kept getting worse instead of dying down. It seemed like someone was fueling the fire. One time, David and I were on our way back from the library. We ran into a female student we didn't know, and she sneered at me sarcastically. "George, how about buying me a meal?" Her challenging, disdainful look made it clear she was picking a fight. I gave her a smile and replied, "How about I treat you to a bowl of crap instead?" Strange incidents like that started happening more frequently. Meanwhile, Willow and Makoto began showing off their new relationship publicly, holding hands, going everywhere together. Makoto even gave Willow a fruit basket filled with perfectly peeled pomelo slices and pomegranate seeds separated one by one, glistening like little jewels. He acted the part of the flawless, devoted boyfriend. They posted pictures of it online, garnering envy from many. Some folks used the comment section to mock me indirectly. One comment read, "Wow, Willow's eating so well. Gotta say, a man who knows how to pamper a girl is the real deal, unlike a certain stingy guy." I saw that post. Then Makoto deliberately said to me, "Honestly, your breakup was for the best. Willow says a guy like you deserves to stay single forever. No woman would want you. Willow and I are a perfect match, and I'll make sure to treasure her." I stared at him calmly, like I was watching a dog barking. Makoto didn't realize that my parents invested tremendous resources in me not so I could become some woman's simp, but so I could grow strong and independent, my roots sinking deeply into this world. David couldn't bear it any longer and snapped. That's enough. I can tell you've had your eye on someone else's girlfriend for a while. If you've decided to take over for him, that's your choice, but flaunting it in his face is just shameless. Or do you need another beating? David's usually a fair and level-headed guy, so when he starts using harsh words, it means he's really fed up. Makoto instantly shut his mouth and left the dorm, saying nothing else. That night, a new rumor about me spread through the group chat. Several of Willow's girlfriends started making up wild stories, claiming things like, "Didn't you all know? George is totally gay, he's in a relationship with his roommate, David, and he's no rich kid. I heard he took out shady online loans, robbing Peter to pay Paul, already deep in debt. He acts all fancy, but he's just pretending to be rich so he can trick girls into sleeping with him. Ladies, stay on guard." The contradictions were laughable. I watched them hurl slander in the group, obviously under Willow's influence. David snapped, throwing a heavy punch as he shouted angrily, "George and I are gay." "Huh? Which girl said that? Come out and say it, I'd love to confirm it." "Oh, it's you pigs. Well then, I really can't confirm it. I'm we ethnic group, I don't eat pork." David's approach was to insult back harder, ignoring the truth of the rumors and focusing on counterattacks. He overwhelmed them with a flurry of cutting remarks until they went quiet. Initially, I only wanted Willow to suffer socially so she'd learn her lesson and behave, but now, I decided to take a more ruthless approach. Chapter 9. The school forums and various chat groups were suddenly flooded with posts praising Willow. Her supposed talents, beauty, and family background were exaggerated out of proportion, half-truths mixed with outright lies. Classmates who didn't know the truth started believing she was a Boyfrien, a rich, beautiful socialite from a wealthy family. Willow took the bait. She showed no caution about this sudden wave of adulation. Instead, she happily embraced it. She even went around belittling me, saying, "George is just a fake rich kid. He takes out online loans to maintain his image. He's probably faking it." When I heard what she was saying, I didn't get angry. I simply kept my head down, transferring money to someone and settling an account. I sent them a "keep up the good work" emoji. They replied warmly, "Got it." David, sitting next to me, asked, "What are you doing?" "The teacher asked me to pass you this file. He wants you to help make a PPT." I smiled and brushed him off. "Just chatting with a friend." I took the file and turned on my computer. Makoto sidled over with another sneer. He said, "Hey, how come those other buddies of yours don't hang out with you anymore?" He gave me a look that pretty much said he was enjoying my misery. Could it be they believed that rumor you're gay? That remark made it crystal clear he was involved in spreading these rumors. He was obviously kicking me when I was down. David chuckled. "If they're not here, they're not here. We've known them for ages. If they buy into a rumor like that, it just proves they're lacking in IQ. Being friends with people like that only drags you down to their level." Makoto got annoyed. "What's your deal, David? You see George has money, so you want to be his lapdog. Is that it?" David looked angry as well. "You know perfectly well I'm speaking the truth." David had every reason to be confident. He's not well off, but he's never once borrowed money from me. He pays all his own tuition and living expenses from part-time jobs. Makoto, stung, muttered, "Anyway, you're just backing him up." David ignored him. I watched as Makoto opened his cabinet and made himself a cup of instant noodles. Ever since he got together with Willow, his standard of living had plummeted. She was always asking him for money, claiming she was hungry. Her phone screen was cracked. She had no clothes to wear. Her perfume or makeup had run out, so Makoto had stopped eating in the cafeteria, sending all his money to Willow while he slurped cheap noodles in the dorm. He called it nourishing the one you love, believing that if he truly loved her, he had to water her like a flower. Makoto even bragged to us that Willow had given him a 40 yuan allowance. I almost burst out laughing. That 4,000 yuan was originally his, and now she's doled out only 40 back to him. Yet he's unbelievably grateful. Makoto was in deep. He even started taking more part-time jobs, handing over all his earnings to Willow. A few times he proudly announced, "I'm earning money now, and once I've saved enough for the betrothal gifts, Willow will marry me. I'm going to buy her a house, too." I never contradicted him, just watched him slide further into the abyss. Ever since Willow's declaration about gender inequalities and men owe women everything, a lot of girls on campus began looking up to her. She frequently went out for gatherings with those supporters, where they'd badmouth selfish men. And every time Willow met her girlfriends for a meal, it was funded by the money Makoto had transferred to her. I estimated each outing cost at least a couple thousand yuan, but that wasn't enough. I wasn't in a hurry. I'm ruthless enough, and I can endure it too. Chapter 10. Makoto was like a pile of manure, and Willow was the flower planted in it. She kept absorbing the nutrients, blooming ever more brilliantly. Eventually, Willow stopped giving Makoto even a 40 yuan allowance. Whenever he needed to eat, he had to ask her in advance. One day, David and I were having a meal at the cafeteria and saw Willow and Makoto there. They only had one dish between them. Willow was happily enjoying most of it, and when she was almost done, she passed her leftovers to Makoto. Watching him silently eat her scraps turned both my stomach and David's. Before long, Makoto had grown shockingly thin. One night, David and I heard him get out of bed. David asked, "Why are you up so late?" Makoto just muttered, "Just getting some water." He sounded really hungry, gulping down water like he was trying to fill his stomach. David could relate, having experienced that kind of late-night hunger himself. So he offered, "You must be hungry, right? I have some cookies in my cabinet if you want." Makoto flared up as if insulted, snapping, "I'm already full. I don't need your stuff." He didn't drink any more water and flopped back onto his bed. I messaged David, "Don't bother. A simp doesn't deserve pity." David sent me a long string of complaints in reply. "Do you think Willow put some kind of spell on him? She's drained him of every last yuan, and he's still head over heels for her. Look at the life he's living now." I replied succinctly, "He's doing it willingly. Don't poke your nose in. He might turn on you and blame you later." David stayed quiet for a long time. Just as I was drifting off to sleep, he sent me a message that read, "George, you don't understand. Back when I first started college and couldn't afford meals, Makoto helped me out once. I, half asleep, chose to respect his decision and let him go ahead and try whatever he wanted." David turned on the overhead light, dragged a chair next to Makoto, and said, "I'd like to have a talk with you." He handed Makoto a mirror, who stared back, confused. David got straight to the point, "Look at yourself in this mirror. You look like a man who's had his life sucked out of him by some vampire witch. Where's the hint of a normal, healthy guy in his 20s? Makoto stiffened and stared at his reflection in disbelief, his expression darkening the longer he looked. David pressed on, "Now think about Willow, living it up on your money. Your parents work hard to send you to college and give you a decent living allowance, and yet you have to request permission from Willow just to eat. Are you insane? Do you honestly think this is what dating looks like? Have you ever seen a relationship like that? Look, if a man truly loves a woman and only has 3,000 yuan, he might be willing to spend 2,999 on her. But if she truly loves him, she wouldn't let him. She'd want him to keep something for himself, too. Willow's out there having fancy meals with her friends, and each meal costs hundreds, if not thousands, of yuan. Do you really believe the money you're giving her is going towards some wedding fund? Don't you wonder where your savings are really going?" Makoto said nothing for a long time. David spent a good while patiently breaking things down for him, and slowly Makoto's eyes seemed to clear. Feeling newly alert, I silently picked up my phone and posted a generous paying job listing in our part-time jobs group. David continued, in a chilly tone, "If she truly loved you, she wouldn't let you degrade yourself to simping like this. Think about it. Does she really treat you as her boyfriend?" Sniffling, Makoto munched on David's cookies and said, "Thanks, David. I get it now. Tomorrow, I'm going to ask for my living expenses back." Chapter 11. The next day, David and I headed to class. On the way, we spotted Willow and some of her close girlfriends. From head to toe, she was decked out in luxury brands. Her makeup was flawless, and her vibe was impossibly confident. A few other girls swarmed around her, all laughing and talking like she was their center of gravity, exuding the aura of a wealthy young heiress. Willow, brimming with pride, caught sight of me from the corner of her eye and raised her voice for effect. "Girls, I'm treating you all today, so go wild." Her clique of girlfriends cheered enthusiastically. Makoto, looking anxious, tugged on Willow's sleeve. She brushed him off like he was dirt. Right then, a high-end car pulled up to the curb, and a male classmate stepped out. He approached Willow and said confidently, "Hey there, gorgeous. Mind if I add you on WeChat?" Her girlfriends teased and giggled suggestively. Willow cast me a mocking glance, as if to say, "See that, regretting everything now?" I watched her impassively. I knew this would be the last moment she'd get to bask in the spotlight. Makoto charged out from the crowd and shoved the guy aside. "Get lost. She's my girlfriend." The guy, who'd been pushed, wasn't having it, and the two started arguing. David and I witnessed them begin to brawl, leaving David dumbfounded. Willow frowned like she was disgusted by Makoto's behavior, then turned around and left him there. David wanted to jump in and help, but I pulled him away. Chapter 12. Makoto and Willow got back together. Willow called to berate David, "You're disgusting. You don't even respect women. You'll die single for sure. And now you're trying to drag Makoto down with you. You turn-off guy, go to hell." David was furious. He had tried to help Makoto, only for Makoto to turn around and throw him under the bus. When David confronted him, Makoto glared coldly and asked, "Are you after Willow yourself, trying to steal my girl?" David was speechless, so angry he lost his appetite for days. Makoto was becoming more and more unhinged. Initially, he was just a simp, but now he also suffered from paranoid fear of being cheated on. Like a rabid dog, He bared his teeth at any man who so much as looked in Willow's direction. He started working 3 part-time jobs, pouring every penny he made into Willow's hands. Chapter 13. The library was quiet and refreshingly cool, filled with people immersed in study. I sipped my coffee in comfort, eyeing the information I'd gathered in chat conversations. By my calculations, Willow's rolling debt had reached around 300,000 yuan, and there was no way she could pay it back. Stretching lazily, I thought, time to move in for the harvest. Willow had been living large at school for months, until a sudden post appeared on the university forum. A junior named Martin, who'd been blocked by Willow on WeChat, publicly demanded she repay the money she owed him. In his post, he recounted in detail how Willow had repeatedly asked him for money, spinning every sob story, mother gravely ill, father dead, and so on, and he provided screenshots of their chats and proof of the transfers. This post was a bombshell. More and more people replied, admitting Willow had borrowed money from them, too. Some had never even met her in person but still let her cut them down like chives over and over, a Chinese metaphor for repeatedly taking advantage. A few had even borrowed money themselves just to lend to her. Grinning, I watched Willow and her close girlfriends trade insults with her creditors online. Many still defended Willow. After all, she had played the role of a generous spender for months, which had earned her a decent social circle. That was when I decided to drop my trump card. Another forum post appeared, this time directly accusing Willow of theft. It read, "Hello, everyone. I'm George, Willow's ex-boyfriend. We broke up because she ordered my roommate to steal my phone and sell it for cash." I uploaded a video of the police lecturing Willow, proving I wasn't making it up. I continued, "Willow is good at winning people over and manipulating emotions. 4 months, she's been threatening me and spreading rumors, claiming David and I are gay, saying I pretend to be rich by taking out online loans just to trick girls into sleeping with me. These lies have seriously damaged my reputation." Then I attached screenshots of the group chats where Willow and her girlfriends had defamed me. I finished with, "After months of effort, I've gathered enough evidence to take legal action against Willow." That was the killing blow. Willow's good reputation was destroyed overnight. Everyone now saw her true colors. People were disgusted. Who steals a boyfriend's phone just because he won't buy a new one for her? With Willow's reputation in ruins and her debt situation exploding, no one was willing to lend her money anymore. Her cash flow dried up. Debt collectors bombarded her phone, Makoto's phone, her parents' phones, and even her friends' phones with calls. Her parents hurried to campus, haggard and desperate, kneeling in front of school officials and begging through their tears. Willow, normally so proud, stood outside an office on the 3rd floor, too ashamed to face her parents inside. Suddenly, there was a loud thud. She had jumped from the 3rd floor window. Chapter 14. An ambulance rushed onto campus. They managed to save Willow's life, but she was left paralyzed from the waist down, with no hope of walking again. Her parents sold their house to clear her debts. Willow refused to come back to school under any circumstances, ultimately withdrawing from the university. Makoto also dropped out with her. They had studied hard for so many years, worked to get into a top university, only to ruin their own futures. Was it a pity? Maybe, but they had only themselves to blame. Meanwhile, I finally got to enjoy my college life. My name was cleared. People realized I'd been the victim all along. No more nasty gossip. One day, David hesitated before asking me, "George, didn't you post a certain part-time job listing?" I looked him in the eye calmly. "If you keep asking, we might not stay friends." David looked conflicted, then chose to remain silent. I never regretted what I did. For someone like Willow, you can't afford to show mercy. Everyone's character flaws are like a sword hanging over their head. Yes, I gave her the final push, but in the end, she brought it on herself. Now I can carry on with college life, clean and free of rumors, because I'm ruthless enough, and I can endure it too. After work, coming home, I pinned my alluring girlfriend onto the bed and showered her with kisses. She feigned resistance yet secretly invited me, playfully pushing me around. Just as I was about to ask why she was acting so reserved today, I noticed her face flush with embarrassment as she playfully pounded my chest with her tiny fists. I teased her that she had quite an elegant touch, but then her next words sent a cold sweat down my spine. All I heard was her shy murmur, "Oh, brother-in-law, what are you doing?" Before I could react, she hurriedly slipped on her shoes and left. Chapter 1. My girlfriend has a twin sister. The two look exactly alike. Their height, weight, and even facial features are identical. They even share the same voice. My girlfriend explained that they were born only 1 minute apart, with the only difference being their personalities. I'm the quiet, introverted one, while her younger twin is more outgoing and free-spirited. Today, my girlfriend didn't mention that her sister would be visiting, so I immediately mistook her for my girlfriend and ended up in a passionate yet awkward encounter. I was left scratching my head in bewilderment. 10 minutes later, my girlfriend returned carrying a bunch of groceries. "Huh, where's my sister?" I asked. "She's gone." "Gone? Why did she leave? I was momentarily at a loss for words, not knowing how to explain, so I blurted out that she must have had an urgent matter to attend to. How could that be? My girlfriend asked, eyeing me suspiciously. Sophia called her sister, my heart pounding so fiercely it nearly leapt out of my throat. If my sister had been honest about what happened, or if she had awkwardly let something slip, I'd be doomed. Unable to clear my name, I watched as my girlfriend took out her phone, typed in her sister's name, and pressed the call button. Every step set my nerves on edge, and my heart nearly burst from my chest. Is her phone off? I wondered. My girlfriend tried calling again, but it still went straight to voicemail. At that moment, I felt as though a huge weight had lifted from my shoulders, vowing that before any future intimacy, I'd always make sure to confirm exactly who was who. Maybe she really did have an urgent matter, I reasoned. Then she locked eyes with me and said, "Something's not right." I shot back, "What's wrong with me? You start stuttering as soon as you lie, don't you know that?" I'm not stuttering." "Then why are you blushing? Isn't it just too hot? Hot enough to have you drenched in sweat?" Desperate to change the subject, I offered, "Let me help you put these groceries in the fridge. You know, your sister left, there's no way we can finish all this food. Were you two up to some mischief behind my back?" she demanded. I stuttered my responses while tidying up, too ashamed to meet her eyes. How could that possibly be? What did we do? What on earth were you thinking? Next time I see her, I'll be sure to ask her properly. Ask, she goaded, and I mumbled guiltily. That night, sleep eluded me as my mind replayed the image of her sister struggling beneath my embrace. My lips had sealed hers. She had wanted to explain but could only manage soft whimpers. I turned over in bed, cursing myself for being such a lecher. What time is it now? When I'm still haunted by those thoughts, I resolved to figure out how to avoid any future awkwardness. And above all, this whole mix-up must never reach my girlfriend. She adores her sister more than anything. If she ever found out I'd kissed her twin, whether by mistake or not, I'd be finished. Fortunately, her sister hadn't appeared these past few days. Judging by my girlfriend's demeanor, it seemed the two weren't particularly close, and as long as no one mentioned it again, the whole incident might just fade away. Still, I felt the heavy weight in my heart finally lift. In the meantime, I encountered her sister a few times, and she spoke with me as normally as ever, as if that incident had never occurred. And that was for the best. After all, it was just a misunderstanding, and the blame rested solely on me. If she could forgive me, I considered myself truly fortunate. Later that day, my girlfriend got off work unusually early. As soon as I opened the door, I was hit by the strong smell of alcohol clinging to her. "Where did you go? Why did you drink so much?" I asked. She mumbled a few terse words, "Work, party, damn it," and then collapsed against me. Dazed and confused, I carried her into the bedroom and went to the kitchen to prepare some warm honey water for her. She took the cup and gulped down a large sip before suddenly wrapping her arms around my neck and forcing the honey water from her mouth onto mine, saying, "Stop messing around. Stop messing around." I assumed she was just drunk and needed rest, but she wouldn't let go. At today's company dinner, everyone else was paired off, engaging in all sorts of flirtatious caresses, except me. "Where did you even eat dinner that allowed for such touching?" I questioned. As she spoke, her hand never stopped its journey, sliding from my waist up to my back. Her hand was warm, as if a small flame were dancing across my skin. My girlfriend was indeed heavily intoxicated. She had no real support, with half her body clinging to mine. The mingling scent of alcohol and her perfume was intoxicating. Looking at her flushed cheeks and feeling her teasing caresses, I could no longer hold back my desire and kissed her fiercely. After a long, passionate bout that left us both sweating, I went to take a shower and then returned to see her sexy back. That's when a chilling thought struck me. An icy shiver surged from my heels straight to the crown of my head. Damn it, I really never learn. Was the person I'd been entangled with just now truly my girlfriend? Are you Willow or Sophia? Chapter 2. Smack. A sharp, resounding slap. Sophia say, "George, what the fuck are you thinking? Wait, listen to me. You're so disgusting. While being intimate with me, you had the nerve to have my sister on your mind. Are you even human?" No. Listen, let me explain." I tried to explain, but I couldn't even begin to justify it. How on earth could I say, "I mistook Willow for you last time and pinned you to the bed for a storm of kisses"? That would only get me killed faster. Yet if I don't mention it, how will you ever understand my worry? You two look so damn alike. I was terrified of mixing you up. What were you even thinking? Could my sister really have done that with you? Aren't you filthy? I must have been blind to be with you. I was wrong. This is all just a misunderstanding. But have you two really done something? She stared me right in the eyes. No, absolutely nothing happened. Sophia says, "I don't believe it." I replied, "You two are just too much alike." I felt I had to ask. Otherwise what? If nothing happened between you two, how could you possibly be so worried? Smack. She slapped me hard again. I watched her burst into tears, sobbing uncontrollably. She got dressed and stormed out, slamming the door. There was nothing I could do. The more we dwell on this, the uglier it becomes. All I can do now is wait for her anger to subside and then apologize properly. I sat back on the bed, still feeling the lingering warmth of her body on the covers and the undeniable evidence of our intimacy on the sheets. What was meant to be a beautiful, intimate moment had turned into this disaster. I ran my fingers through my hair in regret and had no energy to clean up. I opened a bottle of liquor and guzzled it down. If we break up over this, it just wouldn't be worth it. Sophia and I have known each other for only 6 months. We were that kind of love at first sight pair. She, pure and graceful, stunning, kind, and understanding. And her sister, she's her Achilles heel. No one can ever let her sister be wronged, not even me. I lost track of how long I drank until I was completely dazed. Then the door opened, and Sophia returned, looking utterly exhausted. I rushed over and grabbed her hand. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. She glared at me coldly. Don't be angry, okay? I really messed up. Isn't it true that you got yourself drunk by yourself? She mumbled. I just got off work, I'm exhausted. Don't hassle me. In that instant, the scent of alcohol turned to sweat, oozing from every pore until, in a second, my clothes were soaked. Just now, weren't you? What do you mean, I wasn't me? You're completely out of it. She gently pushed my head. That single push snapped me completely awake, yet plunged me into even deeper confusion. My mind felt jammed, as if it couldn't move at all. Enough talking. I'm going inside to lie down, she declared. Before I could stop her, she caught sight of the disheveled sheets and the discarded condom wrapper on the bedside table. I knew then that I couldn't hide it any longer. I had to tell her the truth, from the very start. It had all been a misunderstanding. I had mistaken Willow for you and forcefully kissed her. And then today, with Willow so drunk, I again mistook her for you and went through with that. Not a single word was concealed. After hearing my confession, Sophia's eyes reddened as huge, tear-sized droplets splattered down her cheeks. Oh dear, you can't put all the blame on me. It was Willow who made the first move. I never expected her to take the initiative to sleep with me. Smack. I took another hard slap. And after everything, she even pretended to be you, just so she could get away. Isn't it obvious? It was all her design. Smack. Another slap. I lost count of how many I'd taken today. That slap shattered me completely. Damn it, are you two sisters always like this? Both loving to dish out slaps. I've told you. It was her seduction. She lured me in. She pretended to be you. And that's why I ended up sleeping with her. Not because I truly wanted to be with you from the start. So tell me, where the hell did I go wrong? Sophia said nothing, silently gathering her things. Yeah, I should have seen it coming a long time ago. Sophia, even in anger, remained calm. She wasn't throwing a tantrum at all, nothing like the act Willow had put on. Besides, Sophia rarely initiates intimacy with me. No matter how you slice it, I'm to blame. I moved in from behind and wrapped my arms around her. Listen to me, I know I was wrong, and I apologize. But, let go, you dirty bastard. She stopped tidying up and didn't even look back at me. Her tone was as icy as frozen. Hard pork in a refrigerated locker, completely lifeless. If I didn't let go, she wouldn't resist. I could even hold her like this forever. But I knew that the longer I clung on, the more her heart would die. I can't hold her forever. By then, there'd be no chance to make things right. I watched her pack up and leave, as if repeating the same procedure Willow had followed. What on earth? Why? Why? Oh why? Did Willow seduce me? Why did she set me up? Did she even sacrifice her own innocence just to steal me away from her sister? I dialed Willow's number, but it still went to voicemail. She never seems to like keeping her phone on. Now that I think about it, Willow is a strange woman indeed. One minute she's here, the next she's gone, with no consistency in her actions. Could it be that she's really fallen for me? That can't be. After all, we've only met a few times, and the only intimate incident was that mistaken, forceful kiss. Masochistic tendencies, being forced and then falling for me. Just as I was utterly baffled, I received a WeChat message from Willow. Hey, brother-in-law, how's it going? Isn't the little affair exciting? Are you out of your mind? I thought. Then another message. I say, you slept with both your sister and her twin. Isn't that what us men dream about? Hurry up and explain this whole mess to your sister. All right then, see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. at People's Park. We'll talk. Chapter 3. The next day, Willow, dressed in a crop top with her large, sparkling eyes, sat on a park bench sipping soy milk. Not cold. She handed me her half-finished soy milk. Caring for me, I thought. I opened her hand and said, don't play that trick. Not drinking. Then I'm leaving. I even say to my sister, it was you who forced me. She got up to leave, back mumbling, I'll drink. I was fuming inside. The straw still bore her lipstick in a faint, youthful fragrance. Frowning, I twisted the straw around and took a sip. Now, tell me, what on earth is this all about? I demanded. What else? It's because I like you. She shot back. Bullshit. We've only met a few times, I retorted. And how many times did you even see my sister before falling in love with her? She countered. I was momentarily at a loss. What does the number of meetings have to do with liking someone? I protested. I'm your brother-in-law. You two aren't even married yet. Well, I'm going out with your sister too. She stood up and puffed out her chest. I've looked exactly like my sister since we were kids, same face, same figure. What's my fault? I too stood up and met her gaze. I admit your sister is beautiful. I really like her. But I'm not with her just because she's pretty. Oh, she purred with a sly smile, leaning close to whisper in my ear. I'm better in bed than your sister, you know it. That single remark sent my face turning scarlet. You're seriously out of your mind, I snapped. I tossed aside the soy milk and prepared to leave. Give it up already. Even if you break up with your sister, there's no way I'll be with you. If you leave, I'll tell my mom that you slept with both your sister and me. Don't you dare think you'll ever marry her. She threatened. Fine, do what you want, I muttered. Then I'll call the police and press charges for rape, I blurted out, halting in my tracks as I glared at her. What the hell do you really want? Take responsibility for me, she demanded. But I also slept with your sister, I protested. So who exactly am I supposed to be responsible for? Both, she replied coolly. Maybe the three of us could live together, I suggested. Not impossible, she mused. Stop messing around, your sister could kill me, I warned. After a pause, she said, then you can only be my boyfriend. No way. Then how about just pretending to be my boyfriend? She pleaded. I sighed. Miss, there are plenty of good men in the world. Why do you have to cling to me? For a moment, she fell silent, head bowed, tears streaming. Where are all the good men? Why haven't I met one yet? She lamented. You will, eventually, I replied. Grabbing my hand, she said, brother-in-law, be my boyfriend. 7 days, just 7 days. After that, I'll personally go and explain everything to my sister and make sure you two are as good as new. My sister loves me more than anything. You have to trust me. Really? I asked. Really, I swear, she vowed. She began. If in 7 days, if I go out and, but I quickly covered her mouth with my hand. All right, no need to swear, I promise you, I said. Then she smiled mischievously and even licked my palm with her tongue. I quickly pulled my hand back. To have her help me win back Sophia, I'd agree to almost any condition, except in that one department. She'd suggested it twice, and I had firmly refused both times. That was my bottom line. The rest was simple enough, just dining, drinking, and hitting the clubs. Sophia used to prefer quiet spots, and I rarely went to bars or clubs. Now I almost go every day. The constant noise gives me a headache. Hey, beautiful, dance a little. Suddenly, a stranger's hand crept onto Willow's waist. She neither accepted nor rejected it. Instead, she gyrated wildly on the dance floor. The men grew bolder by the minute, his embrace sliding ever lower. No matter what, Willow is still my sister-in-law. I strode over and knocked his hand away. Buddy, keep your hands to yourself. Who the hell do you think you are? I'm her brother, I declared. Willow shot back. He's my boyfriend. Damn, if you have a boyfriend, why are you still being so provocative? The man angrily flung his hand and stormed off. What did you just say? Say that again. Willow grabbed my arm. See, I told you I can't find any good men. What good men can you even find here? So where should I go then? I thought for a moment. Let's go to the amusement park. The next day, I took her there. She rode the carousel, the pirate ship, and the roller coaster, laughing like a child. I realized she was truly capricious, seductive like a siren at the nightclub, yet as innocent as a child at the park. I took the ice cream from her hand. First time here? I asked. Yeah, it's my first time, she replied. It's so much fun, I said, licking my ice cream cone. It was a bit chilly. I even brought your sister here once, I recalled. She wouldn't dare try any rides, wouldn't let me have any ice cream, saying it would give her diarrhea. Your sister's such a stick in the mud, I muttered. Don't mind her, bring me here next time, I smiled. It's already day 4. 3 more days to go. Why are you such a buzzkill? She pouted. Where do you want to go tomorrow? I asked. Tomorrow, I want to check out your company, she said. Why would you go to my company? I was surprised. Mind your own business, she retorted. I couldn't argue with her, so I took her to my workplace. Some colleagues, having seen Sophia before, mistook her for her and greeted her cheerfully. Willow didn't correct them. Instead, she responded warmly to everyone. They all said, my girlfriend seems in a good mood today, so talkative, while I, busy with work, told her to sit tight and not cause any trouble. Soon after, I began working. In less than an hour, she fiercely slapped a woman, my immediate supervisor. Chapter 4. What are you doing? I rushed over and grabbed Willow's hand as she was about to slap someone again. She cursed at me. That woman pursed her lips as if she'd been wronged. Who the hell is cursing at you? After my supervisor regained his senses, He went berserk, tearing at Willow's hair. Willow dodged to the side and received another resounding slap. Have you no shame? I didn't even want to slap you. Yet you insisted on coming over for a beating. Just then, the boss strode over, frowning. What's going on? She's George's girlfriend, and she slapped me, the supervisor complained. Then tell me, why did I hit you? He demanded. The boss fell silent for a moment before adding. No wonder George's work efficiency has been dropping lately. Turns out he's been bewitched by that fox spirit. You even bring her to work. That's what you said, right? You think I didn't hear you? Even if you were whispering, came the retort. Don't cause a scene at the office. George, handle your own girlfriend, the boss ordered. I quickly nodded in agreement while muttering under my breath. Fucking boss. Acting like a watchdog. Willow, not giving the boss any respect, fired back right on the spot. The boss glared at me with an unmistakable message. Give me a solution, now. Stepping in front of me and blocking the boss's view, Willow said. What kind of boss are you? Don't you care that managers are exploiting lower-level employees? The boss was momentarily taken aback. That bitch, she began, pointing at the female supervisor who had been hit. Even past midnight, still assigning tasks to George. If something's urgent, can't it wait until tomorrow? And these tasks aren't even his, they're just her offloaded work. And you're keeping such useless trash on staff. How do you know all this? I stuttered. Though I'd been with Willow these past few days, I hadn't expected her to be so meticulous. You were working overtime at the bar. Thinking I wouldn't notice, she accused. I fell silent. None of these things would ever catch Sophia's attention. And besides, didn't you already have another job lined up? Anyway, since you're leaving soon, why let this damn thing get to you? If you're uncomfortable slapping a girl, I'll do it for you, she offered. How do you know everything? I asked, dumbfounded. I could only roll my eyes. Are you quitting? The boss asked me. Yeah, what's there to be sentimental about with this stupid company? Stupid boss. And stupid supervisor. Willow jumped in as my mouthpiece. Go to HR, get out now. Outside, a light drizzle fell as I clutched my office supplies in both hands while Willow held an umbrella over me. Are you coming to the office today just for this? She teased. Yeah, otherwise, what's the point of me being here? For fun, I replied with a nod, feeling oddly moved. How do you know everything? She pressed. I'm not blind, I shot back. These past few days, you haven't eaten or had any fun, just because of this damn mess. Look, you finally found a suitable new job, and that's why you're smiling, I observed. She seemed almost boastful, talking nonstop. Even though she was about to leave, she couldn't help but get a dose of satisfaction, leaving quickly, saving a month's notice time with the company. I even wanted to reach out and scratch the bridge of her nose, but in my clumsiness, I dropped all my documents. Don't move, if you do, they'll all fall, I warned. Bending over, she carefully picked up every single sheet. Watching her long hair get soaked by the rain, I couldn't describe the feeling inside. She was more considerate than Sophia, more passionate, and cared for me, truly showed that she was concerned. Maybe being a girlfriend isn't so bad after all. I quickly shook my head, banishing this impractical thought. 3 days later, on yet another rainy day, it was my turn to hold the umbrella for her. When our agreed-upon day arrived, my 7-day stint as her boyfriend was honorably over. She smiled and said, "Don't worry, I won't go back on my word. I'll explain everything clearly to my sister." I nodded. She wrapped her arms tightly around my waist, pressing her head hard against my chest as if trying to memorize my scent. This time, I didn't push her away. I gently patted her back. Willow didn't ask me to see her off. She took a taxi and left on her own. For the next month, neither sister contacted me. Just as I was preparing to forget about them and move on with my life, I received a WeChat message from Sophia. I'm pregnant. For a moment, I didn't know how to face this news. Then, just before bed, Willow shockingly sent me the exact same words. Once I managed to come to my senses, I first replied to Willow, "Impossible, we took precautions that time. Aren't you going to take responsibility?" "Not that, I did use a condom," she shot back. "Then how did you get pregnant?" I demanded. "Just because you wear a condom doesn't guarantee safety. It can leak, you know," she countered. "Believe it or not, I've only ever slept with you." Damn, I slammed my phone against the wall. God damn it, do you hate me to death? How am I supposed to explain this to both of you? Or even to your parents? The next day, I bought a new phone. When I logged into WeChat, there were instantly over 99 notifications. Sophia sent me just one message. "Don't you dare ignore me. I never expected you to be like this. I'm keeping the baby, and it has nothing to do with you." I wanted to reply, but she had already blocked me. Almost all the remaining messages were from Willow, ranging from initial suspicions, to furious tirades, to tearful pleas, and finally to utter heartbreak. In those days, I drifted in a haze, a pitiful drunk slumped in the corner of a bar. How many days did I go without eating? 3, 4. Every day. I drank until I violently vomited, then got up to drink some more, until I eventually started coughing up blood. In a daze, someone helped me up, slung my arm over their shoulder, and laboriously led me out of the bar. Who was it? Sophia or Willow? Chapter 5. In the taxi, the recitations of countless deities echoed in my ears. How can one achieve a solution that pleases both sides? To not fail Buddha and not fail the one you love. It's impossible to be responsible for two people at once, but as long as I'm still a man, I must take responsibility for at least one of them. Who should that be? Sophia is my primary partner, and by right, I should be responsible for her. Yet now she hates me with every fiber of her being. Meanwhile, Willow is more of a victim. If I hadn't forcefully kissed her that day, none of this would have happened. But then, it wouldn't be fair to Sophia. I turned my head and looked at that face so familiar to me, at the anxious expression and the trace of resentment in her eyes, and I smiled. Then I thought, tonight, whoever got me out of that bar, I'll take responsibility for her. At least, she cares about me. That night, I couldn't tell whether it was Willow or Sophia with whom I tangled in the sheets. All I remember is that once we got home, she started crying first. I held her, kissed her, and before I knew it, we were in bed together. That night, she seemed determined to vent all the grievances in her heart, or perhaps to assert her claim, declaring that I belonged to her. I, too, was indulgent, hoping that through this passion I might settle on someone to care for me for life. The irony was that I had no idea whether the body entwined with mine belonged to Sophia or Willow. I was jolted awake by thirst, a huge glass of water downed in one gulp. I stared at the glass, still dazed. I'd fallen asleep right after our encounter yesterday. The glass, placed on my bedside table, had been set there by her. Someone so thoughtful was most likely Willow. I pulled the covers around me and wrapped my arms around her waist from behind. She murmured happily in her sleep without waking, and I too sank into deep slumber. When the sun rose like a sword piercing through my eyes, I saw her still there with her back turned to me, bare and bathed in sunlight. Willow, I ventured. She turned, smiling. You finally got it right. Willow, marry me. I'll take you as my wife, and we'll raise the child together. Okay, she replied. We shared an unspoken understanding. Neither of us mentioned Sophia. Later, when we arrived at Willow's family home, I was trembling with anxiety, my whole body shaking. Thank goodness Sophia wasn't there, otherwise, my sorry state would have been unendurable. I suspected that Willow had deliberately arranged to bring me over when her sister was away. Welcome, sir and madam. Her parents greeted me. Please, have a seat. Willow's parents were neither overly warm nor particularly cold. Glancing around, I couldn't shake the feeling that something about their home was off, though I couldn't quite put my finger on it. Has she left? I asked Willow. She nodded. At that, her parents' expressions grew even stranger, a mix of awkwardness, confusion, and a hint of anger. She's gone. Gone. Could it be that they already knew about the mess I'd made with the two sisters? I quickly shifted the conversation, praising her mother for looking so young. After dinner, Willow's parents insisted I stay a while, but once the meal was over, I excused myself and practically bolted from the room, terrified that Sophia might return at any moment. Why are you so afraid? Willow asked. I replied, getting caught is no good. Sooner or later, you have to face it. Right, if we get married, wouldn't my sister show up eventually? She muttered. I sighed heavily. What am I going to do about the baby in Sophia's belly? She's determined to keep it, but if the baby is born, how will she raise it? And what will people say? Should she abort it? I'm in no position to advise her. After I settled things with Willow, I never saw Sophia again. She kept avoiding me. Every time I checked WeChat and saw that big, red exclamation mark, my heart churned with conflicting emotions. For a month, I buried myself in work, trying desperately to forget this unpleasant chapter of my life, until one night, at a nightclub, I saw Willow, wrapped in the arms of two men, one holding her waist and the other kissing her neck. She closed her eyes in pleasure, swaying sensuously, utterly unconcerned about the baby growing inside her. What are you doing? I demanded. Mind your own business. I'm your boyfriend. If I don't take care of you, who will? She laughed then, a cold, venomous laugh. Oh yes, you are my boyfriend. So, how about we break up now? Fine. You have no right to control me. I stood there stunned, and then an unnamed fury exploded within me. I grabbed her arm and dragged her out of the club. What do you mean by that? I shouted. She answered lightly. What do I mean? I just want to snatch you away from your sister's side. Why? Why would you do that? I roared, my anger loud enough to startle passers-by. Don't think I don't know, you've always loved my sister, Sophia. You and I were never more than a physical affair, I admitted. At first, I truly liked your sister, Sophia. But after spending so much time with you, when I looked up, she had already walked far away, not even listening to a word I said. I returned to that familiar bar. Taking a seat in a corner, I noticed a girl, Utterly drunk. I walked over. Sophia, I ventured. She smiled and waved me over. You're drinking so much, it's not good for the baby. Who are you? Since when do you care about me? She retorted, waving her hand dismissively in front of me. Are you okay? She asked again. This was the second time I'd heard that question today. I felt deeply troubled. How did you end up here? How can you get so drunk? Am I the only one? I drink because, I began, but then paused. How did she know I was here? Drunk. Sophia had never been one to drink, and I'd never mentioned that I frequented this bar. How could she possibly know? In a blinding flash, my vision went dark. I nearly fainted. A fact I was desperate to ignore was laid bare before me. That day, wasn't it you? You got me home the day after I was vomiting blood. Was it you who did that? You took me home, then left, fearing I might hurt myself, and called for Willow, didn't you? I went mad, shaking her shoulder. Her eyes were red, tears streaming down her face. What does it matter now? Do these things even count anymore? Why didn't you tell me? I cried, collapsing into a fit of despair. I grabbed my hair and sobbed uncontrollably. It was always Sophia who cared for me, who looked after me. Sophia was the one who took me home, who left that glass of water by my bedside. The only night I spent with someone was with Willow. And Willow, in the end, only wanted to snatch me away from her sister's side and then dump me. Chapter 6. First, I sent Sophia home. Mrs. Liu asked why she was so smashed, but I didn't answer. With my eyes burning, I roamed from club to club, searching for any sign of Willow, searching all night, but to no avail. At dawn the next day, Willow came to my house on her own. Her face was twisted with malice and provocation as she spat. I actually don't like you at all, really not. All those acts were just for show. I've hated my sister since I was a kid. She has everything, and I have nothing. So I had to snatch everything from her, take it all and then throw it away. I wasn't after possession. I just wanted to see her lose it. And you, too. I had to take revenge on her. I had to make her suffer. I hate her. It's all she owes me. The more Willow ranted, the more agitated she became, until after a long while she finally calmed down. But you're not entirely without merit, sleeping with both your sister and me. Isn't this kind of double blessing exactly what you men crave? She patted my head like a dog. Tell me, what on earth happened between you two? You look so close. How can you hate your own sister so much? Want to know? With that, she raised my chin with her index finger in a gesture that was both suggestive and alluring. Maybe in the next life. She trailed off, not wanting to listen further. I decided, I'll ask Sophia. When I arrived at her home, only her parents were there. Madam, where's Sophia? I asked. Her mother paused and said, Sophia went out early today. And what about Willow? I pressed. Willow has been dead for a long time now. Dead. I was stunned. Then who have I been seeing all this time? Who is it with whom I shared my bed? A cold wind blew out from Willow's bedroom, a chill that sent shivers down my spine. George, are you all right? Came a hesitant voice. I'm fine. I stammered as I trembled and pulled out my phone. Madam, look, this is Willow's WeChat. See, I still have her contact. I even called her. Listen. I played the call. There was no answer. Willow's mother stared at me in disbelief, clearly wondering if I'd lost my mind. Anne, look. Here's her WeChat again. See, isn't that her bedroom? I bolted into the room without even bothering to take off my shoes, comparing the photos on my phone with the furniture in the room. Look at this photo. It was taken right here, wasn't it? Look at the angle. Madam, see, I'm not lying. I crouched in the corner, murmuring. How could it be? How could she be dead? It can't be. Child, don't scare me, my mother said as she helped me up and took my phone, frowning as she examined it. This is indeed our home. What's happened here? I felt as if I'd fallen into hell, a mire beneath my feet from which I couldn't escape. The room was filled with eerie drafts, and cold sweat poured down my forehead. Sophia, yes, Sophia must know. If we find Sophia, we can figure out what really happened. I snatched the phone back and bolted out the door. Child, wait, my mother called after me. In the taxi, Mrs. Liu called, but I said nothing and listened in silence. I eventually found Sophia by the river. She was wearing a trench coat and gazing at the shimmering reflections on the water. Sophia, I called. She turned at the sound of my voice, then coldly turned away. Why come find me? Aren't you supposed to be with Willow? No, there is no Willow. Willow is dead, I blurted. No way, my sister isn't dead. She's perfectly fine. You're just a liar. I grabbed her shoulder, forcing her to look into my eyes. There is no Willow. Willow is dead. She's gone. Impossible. Then tell me, how long has it been since you last saw your sister? She stared blankly, as if lost in memories, like it had been so long. I'd never seen both of you together at the same time. There weren't any family photos of you together. Have you ever wondered why that is? You could call her now, call her every day. No one would answer. She looked at me, puzzled. Why? Because you are Willow. Your sister is just someone you made up. Willow is already dead. She died when you were 6 years old. Dead? Chapter 7. She nearly lost her balance, and I caught her in my arms. On the hospital bed, Sophia still lay in a coma while her parents were rushing over. I, however, was lost in the memories of everything her parents had told me. Sophia truly is a twin. She did have a sister named Willow. When they were 6 years old, the two were in a terrible car accident. Even worse, both sisters had an extremely rare blood type. The hospital's plasma supply was insufficient, so they could only save one person immediately. The other had to wait for blood to be coordinated from another hospital's reserve. Under the constant pressure from the doctors, your parents were forced to make a decision. In the end, with all the agonizing deliberation, they chose to save the older sister with the more severe injuries. By the time the plasma arrived, the little sister had already passed away. Her parents were inconsolable, yet they had another child to raise, so they had to force themselves to emerge from the depths of grief. Sophia slowly grew up, albeit a bit introverted. On the surface, she appeared psychologically sound, until I came along. That's when her parents began to notice something was amiss. On the ride, I called a doctor friend and described the situation. After listening, he said it was very likely a case of dissociative identity disorder. Due to her overwhelming guilt over what happened to her sister, Sophia had developed an alternate personality, her sister, Willow. In her primary personality, she had always regarded this alternate self as her real sister, subconsciously insisting that her sister was not dead. Meanwhile, the Willow personality, influenced by the primary self's psychological cues, believed that her sister owed her, that she had been wronged, and thus, she had to seize everything her sister had, including me. Fundamentally, the alternate personality felt that the primary one had stolen her very life. This explained why both personalities ended up pregnant together and why they would both suddenly leave and then return. They were, in effect, switching between identities. A friend urged me to take Sophia to a psychologist as soon as possible, assuring me that medication could help her recover faster. Hearing all this, I burst into tears. After suppressing my emotions for so long, I finally felt them released. The recent pressure had nearly driven me mad. But, thank goodness, they're actually two sides of the same person. There's only one child, and only one person who has shared my bed. Now, my heart no longer needs to bear the moral judgment or the torment of human nature. I gazed at the sunflower on the windowsill. It bobbed its head as if to say that no matter what happens, it will smile and welcome the sun tomorrow. Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong. Ah, what's that? The psychologist emerged from the treatment room with Sophia. Today's session was over. Ms. Lu's condition had improved significantly. Very soon, her alternate personality would completely vanish. Thank you so much, doctor, I said, bowing to him. What were you just looking at? Sophia asked me, holding onto my arm. I smiled and replied, I was looking at the flowers. Sunflowers. What's so special about them? Every time you come, you stare at it. You've been watching it for a month now, tilting your head so adorably, just like you. This month has been a happy one, she added. One thing the doctor had told me was that Sophia's dissociative identity disorder was completely cured. She would no longer need treatment. A few months later, Sophia and I held our wedding. Mr. George, do you promise to take this bride as your wife, to love and protect her, in poverty and in wealth, in sickness and in health? I do. My voice rang out clearly as I looked at Sophia's smiling face, and I couldn't help but smile broadly in return. And do you, madam, promise to take this groom as your husband, to care for him through poverty and wealth, in sickness and in health? I do. The wedding concluded perfectly. Later, in our marital suite, I couldn't wait to wrap my arms around her. Blushing furiously, she playfully punched my chest with her tiny fists, her face radiating happiness as she said, George, thank you for taking me to see the psychologist. Now, she's completely dead.